We'll finish these tonight.
No, really.
Okay, is everybody ready?
Yep.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to your City Commission meeting. Please turn off your cell phones during the meeting. We will begin with the call to order with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by the American Heritage Girls Troop 167, and followed by a silent meditation. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first item on the agenda is the adoption of Jefferson Park by the American Heritage Girls Troop.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, good evening. I'm very pleased to stand before you tonight and announce that that fabulous group that just led us in the Pledge of Allegiance is here to be recognized in the adoption of Jefferson Park. It will make for the 16th park and green space area that has been adopted in the city of Leavenworth. And you know me, in park maintenance, I take all the help I can get. We have Melissa Barrett and Alicia Thompson, as well as several members of the troop here tonight to please come forward and be recognized for this park adoption. If you'd like to say a few words, feel free.
I just want to say that we are grateful for everything that Leavenworth offers our troop and for the support that we've gotten from the city. And we look forward to many years of working with the city and helping keep Jefferson Park clean. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
In front, tell me the other side.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, girls. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
For your help with our parks. Okay. Next item on the agenda. Old business. Consideration of the previous meeting's minutes. Any changes? No changes or additions? Could I have a motion, please?
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the minutes from the November 14th, 2017 regular meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Rainey. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, second consideration ordinance 8063 development regulation amendments.
Madam Mayor and Commission, at the November 14th meeting, the City Commission discussed and placed on first consideration ordinance a number of housekeeping items and cleanup items related to the development regulations. Once again, these have been passed by the Planning Commission, are now before you tonight to put on for second consideration and final adoption.
Okay. Since there were no changes, we'd go ahead and take a roll call vote. Commissioner Weekly, begin.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Next item on the agenda, new business, citizen participation. If any of our citizens would like to come and speak, come to the podium? Thank you. If not, we'll move on. Okay, general items. Consider request for mixed martial arts event at the community center.
I'll let Carla Williamson, our city clerk, start on this item.
Madam Mayor and Commissioners, the Office of the City Clerk received an application for a mixed martial arts MMA event by John Kaiser of the Universal Combat League MC Promotions LLC to be held on January 13th, 2018 at the Riverfront Community Center. The Code of Ordinance has provision in Chapter 14 for a professional wrestling match. This most closely resembles the type of event that is being requested. I have in the agenda packet the section of that ordinance and what is required, and I'll just kind of hit some of the highlights on there. Section 14-187 states that any matches must have attendance of a physician licensed to practice medicine in the state or persons trained to provide emergency medical assistance certified by the state. One of the other sections, Section 14-202, states that a license to hold professional wrestling match shall only be issued to a bona fide patriotic, benevolent, fraternal, or religious organization or a local unit thereof, which organization has been in existence and has held meetings at regular intervals during the entire year immediately preceding the application. Section 14-203 requires that liability insurance be provided in the amount not less than $500,000 with the city named as an additional insured. It doesn't specifically state that it should be a general liability policy, which would provide liability for any bodily injury and property damage. So that would need to be considered as an exception.
Okay.
It states the application must be submitted at least 30 days prior to the scheduled event and approved by the governing body, and it has been submitted at least 30 days prior. The city's chief building inspector and the fire marshal have reviewed the gym area at the Riverfront Community Center and taken into consideration the dimensions of the cage that's required for the event, taking into consideration the exit areas, and have set an occupancy load of 1,000 persons for this event. And that would be total, anybody in that area. Other factors to take into consideration, the event coordinator would like to request a liquor license for the event and have liquor served during the event. They'd like to have a concession stand at the event. And the Code of Ordinance does not specifically address security at this type of event, but the police chief has recommended that the event coordinator should provide security at the event, especially if there is going to be liquor involved at the event, and even if not, probably should be security, and that was not addressed in the ordinance.
Okay.
The license fee is $100 for the event. Mr. Kaiser is here and would like to address the commission and provide some additional information on that.
Okay.
And then just a few things that we can go over once there's some discussion is if the commission makes a motion, some things that we would want to put into that motion. And also the community center, we've got Steve Grant and Tammy Metzger that might want to address some issues at the community center as well.
Okay, first let's hear from Mr. Kaiser. Are you here? Would you come forward and state your name and then tell us a little bit about this event? I know we have a letter from you, but this is for the general public.
Okay, hi, my name's John Kaiser. I'm a mixed martial arts fighter myself. I've been doing this for about 20 years, between this and boxing. I grew up in Leavenworth, and I just have always tried to get a show here, and so that I, have a hometown show. And I ran into a lot of opposition throughout the years. Just other people that have promotions just not being able to make it for whatever reason or another. About 6 months ago, a friend of mine and I were at one of my fights, and we started talking about maybe possibly buying a cage and just doing it ourselves. Here we are 6 months later, standing in front of you, I guess. Do you guys have any questions I should ask?
I have
Go ahead.
one. Okay, to start with, on the letter that we received, you're partnering with the VFW, Leavenworth County Suicide Coalition, and those, it's probably just for staff too. What's the nature of that partnership? Because I just want to understand it, because in our ordinance, for the license, it to be issued to a bona fide patriotic, benevolent, or fraternal or religious organization. How is the partnership there, and would they be on the license with you?
No, it would just be me, but the partnership is more like, he's helping out, supplying some manpower. We're gonna make a nice donation. I'm not in this for any money. I just wanted, like, when I was a kid, I wanted to box, and there was no boxing around here. I had to drive to Olathe, and it was, I just thought I don't live here. I live in Kansas City, Kansas, but I spent 25 years here, and I guess I still call it home. I just thought I'd give back.
Thank you for clarifying.
That was one of the things too, that if the commission wants to vote on it, we would vote to waiver.
Yeah,
that
and I
partnership.
just kind of wanted to understand that, if we're still going to need to grant the waiver, and I think we would. That would be my understanding, unless staff or our attorney would contradict that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Sir, did you have something to say too?
Yeah, I'm Thomas Poulter. I'm the post commander of VFW Post 56. In August, he did partner with us when we did Operation Awareness that occurred at Haymarket Square. That was, of course, to raise funds for suicide prevention, suicide awareness. We were actually able to raise almost $2,000, in which we've given to Leavenworth County Suicide Prevention Coalition, Team Fidelis, and of course the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. He was gracious enough to provide his services and get kids involved, and this is just an opportunity for us to help our community out again and also raise more awareness for veterans. Right now we lose them 20 a day, and I've done a lot of research, and there's a lot of veterans that are turning to it as a way to handle their PTSD. Of course, we're a military town, we're a prison town, and I know we have a lot of PTSD issues. I know because I see it at the VA all the time.
Sure.
And I've lost friends to suicide, and I'm tired of counting them on the hand. Actually, it's almost two hands. So this is an opportunity for us to, one, build the community, and the goal is to eventually, hopefully, open a place to where veterans and troubled teens can come. It's not just about veterans; it's about a community that you get some troubled teens in there to show them that there's a different avenue of approach.
Different way to do things. Yeah.
I mean, I've been working in prison for 23 years. I know the trials and tribulations of young kids, what they go through, so we're just looking out for our community.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Kaiser, could you address the security issue?
Yeah, that's what I forgot to. I work security, as a matter of fact, down in Westport. I got my friend Khalil Hiller, he's gonna let you know about all that.
Okay, give us your name, sir.
Khalil Gwynn, I'm sorry.
Sure, it's Khalil Gwynn, Kahilguinn.
Thank you.
Let's see, I served 12 years in the Marine Corps. Once I got out of the Marine Corps, I opened up my own private or event security company. Right now, it is only licensed in Missouri. My license is not reciprocal, but John brought me on as a consultant to find a security company that is licensed in Kansas for him. We're in the process of evaluating some bids right now, and what we're looking at is a minimal staff. This event is, as it was stated earlier, 1,000 people max. So we're looking at probably 6 to 8 guys. Stand up would be the same way that they are at the Chiefs-Orioles game, facing the crowd, where you can see if anything's going on. I wholeheartedly agree with what was stated earlier, especially if liquor's involved, that security needs to be enacted as well. Just about all of the guys that work for me on the Missouri side are veterans as well, which lends towards maturity and a little bit of tact when dealing with people, especially once liquor gets involved. John, in fact, is one of my security guys in Missouri. I would say we should probably have the bid process wrapped up probably within the next 2 weeks or so. And have selection made immediately after that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Tammy, do you have any concerns about the community center? If so, you want to address this?
My two biggest concerns really were protecting the liability, which I believe that Mr. Kaiser has fully been informed of what he needs to do as far as that goes, and then just protecting the gym floor is all, and he has addressed those concerns as well.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Go ahead. It's all right, you're right.
I do have, okay, so everything that, I forgot your name. Carla, yes.
Carla, yeah.
We've been emailing back and forth a lot, so I did get a copy of kind of like an, just kind of a dummy's guide to what the insurance policy covers, and it does cover up to $300,000 worth of damages to the venue. So if the floor is scratched, even the slightest bit, it's covered up to $300,000. And it's $1 million insurance policy. It's actually required by the state. The State Athletic Commission is, in a sense, overseeing this. They will have a presence there. This is only an exhibition fight, so this is not sanctioned. The difference between the two is really the only thing is that I get to call all the shots basically, and if I get putting guys in there that are going to hurt another guy, then I get in trouble and I don't get my promoter's license, which is what I'm going for eventually. And I want to eventually open up a gym here in Leavenworth, and I don't know if you read the little packet that I included or Carla did, but I want to open a gym here and make mixed martial arts available to the youth and whoever else that wants to try it out.
Great.
Yep, so I think like as far as that's concerned, like the policy that I've got already should take care of everything.
You can run that past Carla and work that out. Okay,
all right,
thank
thanks.
you. All right, we have two choices here. We either deny the request or we can approve the request with the following waivers.
Madam Mayor, I think Commissioner Preisinger may have had something.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you were there. I apologize.
This may have been covered, maybe I didn't hear it. At the end of the staff report, it says other factors to take into consideration. Talks about the liquor license and the coordinator plans on having a concession stand at the event. With our community center, is it required that our caterer handles all that? Can someone have an independent concession stand there?
I'll have Tammy answer that.
It's not required that our in-house caterer handle it, but if there is an outside caterer, there's a 20% outside catering fee that would be due.
Did you hear that?
But if this is a concession stand, is that considered a caterer?
Yes.
Yes, you can bring in a third-party food provider, but if you do that, there's a 20% outside catering fee or outside food service fee. That's in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else?
That answers my question.
All right. Okay.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the request, and I'm going to go through the recommendation of the items because it has to be included in the motion. That is to grant a waiver to section 14-202. Do I have to read the entire thing, Carla?
No.
Thank you. To allow liquor, alcohol to be served on the condition, though, that security is provided and that the police chief will work with the event coordinator on the details, And then also upon approval is contingent that the event coordinator and the Riverfront Community Center staff has agreement on the floor plan and the plan to protect the gym floor. And also, as he mentioned, that they required a certificate of liability insurance for the general liability, which would include injury and property damage, be included for approval.
Okay, there's a motion and second on the floor. Please begin voting with Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 Right,
I
motion
have-
carried. Thank you
I have
guys very much.
One more question before we move on, since there will be probably future events, hopefully with this going forward, will we update our code to our ordinance here to include MMA events in the future?
We certainly could bring that back to the commission if they'd like to.
Right
to
now,
have
it's
that
just a
updated.
waiver to that. so.
Yeah. But I mean, since it's
If it's gonna be
possibility has a
ongoing.
future ongoing,
No sense
I
in
think
having
we
a
need to,
waiting
update.
Right.
Since I don't think we've had a wrestling match here in quite a while.
Yeah.
So,
We may want to look at also if we require the patriotic, benevolent, fraternal, or religious organization to be, not saying we change it, but when we're looking at adding that language of MMA, we may want to look at too the type of entity that's allowed to stage them.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Okay. Next item on the agenda is cancellation of outstanding checks prior to 2016.
Madam Mayor and Commission, this is an annual step that we take to cancel checks that have been outstanding for a period of 2 years. The city has a total of 41 checks in the amount of $7,153.37. It is recommended that the commission do cancel these checks. And then also important to note that if a check is presented for payment from these lists that are canceled, the finance department would honor the obligation and issue a new check. It's just proper practice after 2 years to cancel all outstanding checks. If you have any questions, our finance director is here to answer those.
Okay.
I don't know, but if I were the Cody Plaza and if they're listening to this, I would contact the city, just FYI there.
Yeah, I noticed some of those are right here. I don't know why it's an
I mean,
issue.
individuals are a little difficult, but an organization, that's just unbelievable.
Okay, any other questions about this item?
No.
If not, can we have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the cancellation of the outstanding checks that are prior to 2016.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next item is the mayor's appointment to the Convention and Tourism Committee. I move to recommend the following appointment to the Convention and Tourism Committee. Scotty Bresgill to an unexpired term ending January 31, 2019.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Next item on the agenda, election results from November 7th election.
Carla?
2017, sorry.
On November 7th, 2017, the general election for the City Commissioners and Water Board was held. Janet Klasinski, the County Elections Officer for Leavenworth County, has certified the election results, and the results are as follows. I'll go ahead and read those. Michael Bogner, 942 votes. Myron J. Mike Griswold, 1,224 votes. Mark Preisinger, 1,052 votes. Charles Rainey, 865 votes. Lisa Weekly, 917 votes. Jermaine Wilson, 1,332 votes. Angela Luster, 20 votes. The Water Board, William Billy Daniels III, 1,470 votes. Richard Gervasini, 1,506 votes. Eric Peterson, 1,542 votes. And Greg D. Cause, 2,044 votes for an unexpired term. Based on the results, the City Commission candidates Wilson and Griswold will serve 4-year terms, and candidate Preisinger will serve a 2-year term. For the Water Board, candidates Daniel, Gervasini, and Peterson will serve 4-year terms, and candidate cause will fill the unexpired term ending in 2019.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the results of the election?
Madam Mayor, I move that we accept the results.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please speak in voting. Commissioner Weekly?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Thank you very much. Resolution B 2182, resolution of intent for sidewalk improvements at 801 North Broadway.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. I'm your Assistant City Manager, Taylor Tedder. Tonight, we're looking at possibly improving the sidewalks for the former Broadway School. Caleb Buland of Exact Architecture, he is fully renovating the former school at 801 North Broadway Street into high-end apartments. It will include 19 units, which is an approximate $2.3 million investment in that residential area. This is the same developer that developed the Ben Day School and the Carnegie Library, and has a great track record here in our community. Construction costs have risen over the past few months, and he has discussed with staff a funding gap in his project, approximately between $300,000 and $400,000 on this project. He's ineligible for a property tax abatement since it's of residential nature, and then he's also not eligible for one of the Network Kansas e-community loans, which we were exploring, but because it doesn't have that commercial art gallery space like the Carnegie has, it's just residential, so it's not eligible. The sidewalks will greatly improve the walkability of this neighborhood. We will make it contingent on a full issue of a building permit for the commencement of the construction. So we are looking at this as a way to encourage additional growth and help close that funding gap for this developer.
Okay. Does he have historic tax credits on
He
this?
is, yes, he does.
Okay.
Would we be in charge of the construction of the sidewalk, or would he?
Yes, we will be in charge of this. It'll be included in our 2018 sidewalk construction.
Thank you.
And that would be contingent upon him pulling the building permit and all
Correct.
that, right? It wouldn't be just done before that.
Okay, and would you do this after he's completed the project?
We would work with him to make sure that the
It'd be
project's
the
far
same.
enough along that the sidewalks won't get ruined.
Damaged,
Yeah. Okay.
And
Lines and stuff under
if
it.
we're looking at including this in the 2018 sidewalk construction, it would be farther along in the year anyway.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Any questions regarding this? Thoughts? Okay.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution B 2182, resolutions for intent of sidewalk improvements at 801 North Broadway.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting. Commissioner Rainey?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
One more. Sorry.
you.
Sorry, Commissioner. Okay, next item on the agenda, Resolution B 2183, MOU between the Office of the State Fire Marshal and the City of Leavenworth.
Good evening. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Mike Shore with the Leavenworth Fire Department. You have before yourselves a resolution to authorize the Leavenworth Fire Department to enter into an agreement, specifically an MOU with the State Fire Marshal's Office. This MOU will allow us to participate in the state's urban search and rescue program. We currently have, the last several years, we've already been participating in this. This is just an effort, the state's effort to formalize this a little bit better, have better procedures. So, and it's similar to agreements we have that you're familiar with, like mutual aid agreements with our surrounding agencies, and except that those agreements are more for our standard routine day-to-day operations, fires, structure fires, and car wrecks and such, where this MOU here for the search and rescue program, this is more of a large-scale incidents, such as both inside the state and outside, such as, the the recent hurricanes that we've had and stuff. So the state has 7 regions that are the Homeland Security regions, and we're part of the Kansas City Metropolitan Region, and that's made up of Leavenworth County, Wyandotte County, and Johnson County, with Olathe City Fire being the lead agency within our group. So we do a lot of training with them already. We have equipment and a lot of specialized equipment and specialized training that we receive through this at no cost to our department. And that equipment is housed here within our community, so and it's available to us at any time we need it. So, with all of that, our staff recommends that we move forward with this MOU and continue our.
Okay. Sounds like a good plan. Any questions?
No, I just say it's good, and it's kind of nice because the funding is covered with this too, which I think it's a good program.
All right, do we have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution B 2183, the Memorandum of Understanding between the Office of the State Fire Marshal and the City of Leavenworth Fire Department.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting. Commissioner Preisinger?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, sir,
Thank you.
very
Thanks,
much.
Mike.
Consider bids for the bids, contracts, and agreements. Consider bids for 3 Mile Creek Bank stabilization.
Our Public Works Director, Mike McDonald, will handle this item.
Thank you, sir. Madam Mayor, Commissioners, this is a recommendation from staff to approve the award for the construction of the Channel Bank Restoration Project on 3 Mile Creek between 2nd Street and Esplanade. I have some pictures here we had seen earlier, but I wanted to revisit a little bit about how we got here. This creek, 3 Mile Creek, at the lower reaches of the creek, has always been an active creek. The trail, the first picture shows that before the trail was built, I think we're doing the sewer repairs back in 2008. The trail was built in about 2010. Go ahead and click the other way. And we had pretty good rain events in basically 2014 and 2015. They caused some significant bank erosion, and we also built the parking lot in 2015. But after the rains, the creek banks never really recovered. You see the pictures of the prior years. There's always vegetation. There was always kind of things growing and not falling in. It was always a little raw, but it was always moderately stable. But if we go on up here toward the last pictures, you can see there's a pair of pictures that show what it looked like in 2017 and I think what it looked like in 2015. The property, one more, Mike. Yeah, these are 2016 pictures. You can see the bank is a real problem. The property is actually owned by One Gas, which is the parent company to Kansas Gas. And the city recognizes that we have a lease for park purposes on their property. That works for them because they have underground contamination that having a giant parking lot on top of it really helps them in their management of that site. So to meet our needs to protect the bank, it kind of coincided their needs to protect the site from further erosion, and we worked on an agreement that was eventually approved in March of this year, where we agreed to share design costs with One Gas on a 50-50 basis, which led to a recommendation for design, which the Commission approved a memorandum of understanding for this construction project, 65% funded by One Gas and 35% by the city. The work will basically restore the creek bank. We'll do some repair work on the bridge abutments. The trail will be reopened at the conclusion of this project, and hopefully things will be stable for quite some time into the future. The contract is a 90-day construction contract, The contractor, low bid is Lexico. We have talked to them, and they expect to be in a position to begin work on the project in mid-December. Assuming that the weather doesn't become absolutely atrocious, they expect to be done in 30 to 45 days. I know that they're working around the holidays and that sort of thing, but they want to get in and get out in the winter. There's low flows in the creek and low flows in the river. We're waiting for the final delivery of some permits from the federal government. We've been informed that the permits have in fact been approved. There's a time frame for them to process the actual paperwork, and it's possible that prior to the start of work we may see that the contractor is staging some equipment and possibly materials, but they cannot start work on the creek bank until we get the permits. We will be inspecting the project with city forces, but due to the environmental nature and the technical issues related to placing the riprap protection at the bottom of the bank, we will have 2 other contracts that can be approved by the city manager for inspection services to assist the city staff with construction of this project. We received 3 bids. We're pleased to report that the low bid was from Lexico here in Leavenworth, and their bid was found to be in order, and we recommend that the City Commission approve that.
Okay, is this the total bid or is this our half?
That is the total bid, and the city would be responsible for 35% of that, which is about...
Oh, 35%, sorry.
I think 116,000 or so.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Well, you've got how the project of what the work consists of. You're removing all the existing trees and the brush, so it's just going to be like the stone and the riprap repair on there. There's not going to be any vegetation planted again?
There will be vegetation at the upper level as an extension of the parking lot.
Okay.
And the sides of the project will, the riprap and the other stones will eventually grow trees and brush.
Just hold it from eroding then.
The goal is to keep it from eroding further.
Okay.
The other kind of a key engineering end of the thing is that we build in these rock check dams across the creek to keep the channel from eroding deeper, which was compounded by the Missouri River has had a tendency the last 20 years for the channel to go deeper and deeper, which impacts the creeks that run into it. But also, as 3 Mile Creek gets deeper and deeper, it tends to get below the established plant growth and further aggravate the situation. So you'll see 3 large rock channels built across the creek, but they're not going to be like waterfalls. They're going to prevent erosion in high flow events.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Preisinger, did you hear all that, or do you have any questions?
No, I heard it. And it's very good that One Gas is paying 65% of the total cost, and they already paid 50% of the design cost. So it's a very good deal for the city. It needs to be done.
Needs to be done, yes. Okay, thank you. Then do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'd move that we grant Lexico Construction out of Leavenworth the bid for 3 Mile Creek Bank stabilization in the amount of $332,821.55, and they get, what's the percent, Mike?
They pay 65%, we would pay 35%.
They get, yeah, at 35% of that money.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 All right, motion approved. Consider approval of the KDOT project programming request for the Riverfront Community Center stone restoration.
Madam Mayor, Commission, we would ask
Phase
that
4.
you remove that from the agenda tonight.
Okay.
It has to come after the CIP is approved, and we wanted to give you a little more time with the CIP since we just looked at it last week. So this resolution will just follow the CIP final approval to the December 12th meeting.
So you need to have this tabled?
Well, no, we would just prefer that you remove it from the agenda.
Okay. All right. Next items, first consideration ordinance.
Do they have to make
Yes,
a
please.
motion?
We do have to have a motion to remove it.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
sorry.
please. Madam Mayor,
Go ahead.
oops,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve
Remove.
the item 11, consideration of the approval of KDOT project from our agenda tonight.
Second.
I think you meant remove. You said approve. You meant remove, right?
Remove, no, I said remove.
Okay, all right. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting. Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Sorry, it sounded like you said.
I
All
think I
right.
included that word in my motion. I just read it across the line there, probably.
Okay, first consideration ordinance amendments, Appendix F, Schedule of Fees. These haven't changed.
Yes.
Come on.
This is the first consideration for changes to Appendix F, the Schedule of Fees. This was discussed at the November 21st study session, where the fees were reviewed by the commission, and there were a couple of items that the commission came to a consensus. One of them was just to remove a small fee on there that was no longer applicable with regards to rental registration. Add some fees in the food section, Chapter 54, that was approved earlier in the year by the City Commission. And then the other item was the transient merchant license. There was a discussion to change that from only one license being issued every 6 months to no more than 2 licenses to be issued in a calendar year. So those would be the changes to those.
Okay, for this item, any other questions on this?
No.
We just need a consensus? Is there a consensus to move forward?
Yes.
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 Okay. Next item, first consideration ordinance amending Section 2-28 governing body salaries.
Madam Mayor and Commission, during the budget process this year, there was a consensus to increase the compensation for the commission and mayor by $100 a month each, changing the commission from $4,800 per year to $6,000 per year, and the mayor from $6,000 a year to $7,200 per year. That is included in next year's budget already. However, those amounts are set by ordinance, so we do have to amend the ordinances. And one additional change that staff would like to request would be related to a technology reimbursement. Before I started, at some point, the city began reimbursement of internet connectivity to commissioners on request. Based on an average of the internet costs at the inception of the reimbursement. To let you know how long ago it is, it's still coded as Roadrunner reimbursement. However, the cost is absorbed in the IT, Information Technology Division budget. In order to clarify commission compensation and better account for expenses, we'd like to move it into the commission budget. It won't affect the budget, but then we'd like to change it to a $50 monthly technology allowance to avoid the ambiguity of the amount. It's not really tied to anything at the amount that it is now, but it wouldn't change really the practice. It would just sort of clean it up. So those would be the two changes, the one from the commission for the budget compensation, and then the inclusion of a technology allowance moved to the city commission budget.
Okay. Any other questions on this?
No, I just have a comment that during the budget session, I really argued against doing the salary increase for the commission and the mayor. But since you snuck in the cleanup of the technology allowance, I'm going to change my mind and vote yes. So.
Well, all we need now is a consensus. So
Yeah.
is there a consensus to move this forward?
Yes.
Yes. All right. All right, last item on the agenda, consent agenda.
Madam Mayor and Commission, I move for your approval claims for November 11th, 2017 through November 24th, 2017 in the amount of $2,280,413.72. The net amount for pay number 24 effective November 24th, 2017 in the amount of $328,079.42, including $11,401.34 for police and fire pension.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting. Commissioner Preisinger?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Any items that we need to, any other items tonight? Anybody have any items tonight to discuss? Mr. Kramer?
Nope.
If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting. Commissioner Rainey?
Aye.
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 Okay. Yeah. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.